Hey everyone, the name is Erik Thor, and I'm here today with an INFP Geek Psychology's Matt. And together we're going to do a discussion about the INFP's body language and their common facial expressions and how they tend to come across to other people based on how they gesture, how they talk, and how they act. And just to start this off, introduce yourself a little to the viewers.
Oh, okay. My name's Matt Sherman, INFP 9, doing the Geek Psychology thing, trying to fuse, games and psychology and stuff like that. Right now I'm living in Tokyo, Japan, been here for about 11 years. Just kind of living the life, I guess.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I'm also an INFJ. I'm an INFJ, I should say, and a 9 as well as you. So we will have a lot of similarities in some ways, but differences in other ways, of course.
Okay.
And just to get it started off, I've already done visual typing of math, and I want to talk about first what it is I do. I'm not interested in if you have a big nose or how large your eyes are or so on. I feel like a lot of people who do body language typing, they get lost in person's how big a person's mouth is or like their physical characteristics, and really that's not what it should be. Body language is more about how we smile and how we talk and how we gesture and how we tend to look at and study things around us. Because, of course, when we have a set of cognitive functions and needs and preferences, we will be looking at the world differently. We'll have a lot of different things consciously. And just an introduction to that is an introvert, when gesturing, tends to pull and see themselves grabbing information from within to share with the world, where an extrovert tends to imagine themselves grabbing information around them to share and discuss and bring inwards. So there's a whole different flow there, in that introverts tend to perceive themselves as sharing something from inside that they have thought about versus grabbing and discussing and taking things around you. Have you noticed that in yourself in any way?
Yeah. I mean, I always do feel that I'm kind of looking for something within my mental space, trying to figure out where it is and then share that with other people for sure.
Yeah. Like introverts do a lot of things. Introverts tend to often tower up a little with the face in a way, creating some distance from themselves and even pulling back sometimes, around in some ways.
Okay. Yeah, I think I do
And a
that
lot of
too.
people, yeah, you do, even just now. When a lot of people tend to say or have this misconception of introversion as pulling away or detaching from the world around you in a way. And it's not exactly 100% true, because it sometimes mixes up. People confuse often introversion and intuition. The truth of the matter is that intuition is a quite, in the stereotypical sense, introverted function, since it's not based on so much like the loud and the active things that happen around you. Extrovert intuitives are not really loud. Extrovert intuitives don't tend to be like the people to create noise around them. They tend to be much more about the subtle things and so on. But still, an introverted and intuitive person typically tends to come off as the most detached and philosophical of all the types. And that's really what I noticed the most in you. You really speak like a philosopher. You walk and think and talk like a philosopher. You have that. You seem to muse and think while you speak. You seem to resonate a lot with what you say and when you talk.
Yeah, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, not only are philosophers prone to having a relaxed gaze, a relaxed squint in a sense, but also they tend to speak elaborately, something like this. I have this idea that this is how it works. They speak from that inner mental frame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like flowing out whatever ideas come up.
Yeah, you're not pulling from an exact script, but more from a theory.
For sure, for sure. I wish I had a script. Save my life right there.
Yeah, like I wonder if the same for you, but I don't script my videos. I only create this idea in my head about what I want to talk about and some basic things, and then I just go off that free flow.
Yeah. I've tried both, and I really don't like scripting it. But then I also got lost completely in different ideas and not actually finishing what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, for me, when I create a script, I can never follow it. I can never stick to it. Like I always come up with a better way to say it when I talk.
For sure. Yeah.
I saw like some of the things you tend to do that are a little interesting, like funny expressions, is that you tend to have like this way of looking around you, looking away, like with a sense of marvel and like this. What is this? This is fascinating. Like when you're talking about something, you tend to seem so like into and so fascinated by your own topics and what you're discovering as you talk.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's always so interesting inside my brain. Like I just see all these different ideas. I'm like, oh, gotta chase that one for a little bit.
Yeah, you also have like this. This is kind of the thing I've noticed that because a person has, of course, an INFP. As an INFP, being an INFP is how you flow. Like it's how you are when you feel the most comfortable and the most in tune with yourself and the most energetic and the most motivated. But typically, a person tends to leak out their inferior function, like negatively. Typically, when a person describes an INFP more negatively, they will focus on more the inferior functions and the inferior expressions, like what the person lacks or has in a bad way, rather than what the person's key strengths are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
it's always been an issue for me.
yeah, that's the thing. You're a yellow INFP, an INFP 9, and they tend to be inclined to be seekers, and they tend to be strong with their introversion and intuition. But you typically restrain your emotional expressions a lot, and you have a lot more of a serious quality compared to a lot of INFPs. Coming from thinking and judging.
Sure.
And the thing with thinking is like when a feeling type goes into thinking, typically sometimes that can come off as a little anxious in a way, or a little antsy in a way, like, because thinking tends to make one appear a little more like, for example, introverted and feeling types. I should say people that are introverts and that are feelers. So both you and me. We tend to have like this strong face, like this tough face that we put up a lot of the time. And sometimes like in an ESTP or an ENTJ, like that will come off as very cocky or like intimidating. And INFJs and INFPs can also sometimes do that, like put on this strong face, like I don't care, I don't give a damn, like that sense of hardening in a sense.
I used to practice that actually. I used to try to keep like this really stiff face, like just so that I don't know, I could practice that other side. It's kind of strange, but then eventually I just kind of gave in to like a little bit more relaxed style, I think.
Yeah, I think that's good, because a lot of INFPs and INFJs don't respect their own sensitive side and how sensitive they really are. Like they think they have to put up with a lot more shit than they actually have to put up with, and that they have to endure when they should. And it's when it's okay to be a little sensitive and to let yourself feel and to feel bad.
Yeah, definitely. That's where a lot of change in my life happened, was when I stopped trying to be a robot and kind of loosened up a bit and accepted my style a bit more, for sure.
It's common that people say that INFPs don't have a lot of emotional expressions overall. Like Young talks about, typically with introverted feeling types, that their expressions are hard to read because they are more intense and more deep down. And one of the things, like even like INTPs can sometimes seem more emotional, because when they talk and like they're more prone to blushing and to like becoming like a little caught up in it, and like like losing becoming a little more emotive in the face. But INFPs tend to, their upper face at least, tends to be pretty void of emotion, serious and on topic and matter of fact.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure too.
But there is one thing, and that is that INFPs do tend to have strong reactions, like when smiling and when hearing something or noticing something. That's where you can see the emotions, like when they listen to someone or when they see something they don't like or something that's difficult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when something hits the right or the wrong buttons, for sure, like that's where the emotions come out and start actually getting into the situation, bringing out my opinions and stuff like that. But usually I try to, keep them in a little bit more.
With the voice, typically like the INFP, like I said before, will tend to muse on their own words, and they will speak in a poetic way. They have a tendency to enunciate words and to give words specific meaning or special meaning as they talk. But INFPs also have a tendency to have like these like authentic voice cracks in a way, like when they, especially when they speak vowels and like O, A, I, E, and so on. Like that sometimes can like when they say these things, their voice can crack a little, like because of their feeling and perceiving.
Yeah, I've noticed that when I'm watching my videos, because I have to watch them to edit them. Like definitely up and down, a lot of different kind of pushing out words every once in a while, I think.
Yeah, like even ESTJs can have that. For them, it can even sound a little nasal, almost, because they push so strongly on thinking and judging, and they have such a strong articulation overall.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I hate watching.
INFPs tend to speak much more from their throats, really. Like they have like you tend to have like this breathy way of speaking.
Mm. Yep. Yeah. It's always been something that I've not liked, but knowing that it's just a thing that INFPs have, it's okay. I'm okay with it now.
And I wanted to talk a little about the gestures and your gestures in particular, because not only is it that you tend to grab information from within, but it's also that perceiving types tend to weigh information a lot, like this versus that idea versus that idea. And as a judging type, typically what I tend to do is much more like this kind of gesturing, like gesturing towards an audience or directing gestures.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing with an INFP, what you want to look for when a person is doing this, because I will also do this sometimes, is do their fingers tense up while they're doing it? And INFP's fingers don't tense up. INFP's wrist movements and their finger movements are fluid and often like something dancing in the wind in a sense. Like they can even have like this harmonious like way of grabbing and gesturing with their fingers, where typically for me it's much more choppy and a little more tense. My fingers don't tend to align as much, and they become more like button pressing in a way.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm like a ballerina.
Yeah, it's completely reversed when you gesture towards an audience. Like when you do like this, then you tend to have much more directing and choppy gestures, like that way, this way, is like that.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed my hands, like every time in one of the thumbnails that just naturally come up for the videos, my hands are always like this. Like I'm definitely moving in and out constantly.
Yeah, you are.
Like, you got me.
So what do you think about like body language typing and facial expressions?
I've always been interested in body language itself because I always felt I was really awkward. So I wanted to learn how to like present myself as, more confident and stuff like that. So I started studying body language, and then through that a little bit into typing through the facial gestures, but I didn't really get too much into it, which is why I wanted to talk to you about it today.
Yeah, like I don't think INFPs, or I don't think you come across as awkward at all. Like I tend to, I think the first thing I noticed about you it was that you had like this peaceful expression, like this steady, stable quality. Like you really seemed like a pillar, like someone that you can count on. That's typically quite reliable and easy to know will always be there, will always be around in a way.
Cool, cool. Thank you.
Uh, Beyond that, you do seem authentic. You seem like you're open-minded, that you're perceptive, that you notice a lot. Like you have these open eyes that seem like they have no necessary opinion on what's right and wrong, but they're open to anything. Like they're open to consider any person's perspective. They don't seem blocked, or you don't seem narrow-minded at all.
Oh, cool. I try not to be. So yeah, I'm glad that that's how it comes off too.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is anything, but is there something to do with like the different hemispheres of the face kind of showing um, gestures a little bit more for the different types? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, everyone's
Like,
born with the asymmetrical faces. So all of us have a different left side and a different right side. So um, different types tend to have a good side and a bad side. I actually don't remember right now, but I remember judges tend to have one side that looks better than the other, and that judges tend to hide their left side. So don't want to show it too much, where perceivers tend to hide their right side a little.
okay, interesting. Yeah, no, I read something like a long time back about it. I was curious about it because I'm always on the train, kind of like looking at people, trying to piece them together and see what type they are and all that stuff.
Yeah, like depending on what they do, they will show different functions. Like this is the typical introverted and perceiving stance, like tilted head, lifted head. This is the typical EJ state, like the head. Like you nod your head or bow your head downwards somewhat, signaling also openness to new things and also readiness to respond and to deal with and to jump on new things.
Cool. Yeah,
So,
yeah, I can agree with that from the ESTJs in my life for sure. Moving forward, ready to pounce on something.
yeah.
Anything else I should know about?
Um, it's usually that with body language, of course, like it's a really great way to like what is the reason I can say that it looks like this or it looks like that is because I think we all read body language all the time intuitively. We all can to some extent get an idea about how people come across or how people appear. Like we can notice that someone seems a little introverted or intuitive or feeling. We can notice when a person seems to be in pain or when a person seems to be angry about something. And I think it's a pretty neat way to see more dimensions in a personality type. Like I don't think it replaces regular personality typing or profiling, but it shows also a lot of development. So I tend to actually value it a lot when typing people.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. I want to try to bring some of these ideas in when I, see new people, meet new people, see if I can get a good impression first.
Yeah, it's awesome. So it's been a pleasure having you here, and I'm looking forward to making a video on your channel as well at some time.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll try to think of some ideas for it. Something interesting, fun we can talk about. So that'd be cool.
Yeah, thank you a lot for joining up, and thanks to everyone who joined in. And shout out, of course, to Geek Psychology, your YouTube channel. It's a really amazing place for anyone who's into psychology and also a little nerdy.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Nice talking to you too.